Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the own affairs.
Every February, we celebrate Black History Month. But do you know where it came from? Why it even exists? Black history didn't start with slavery. It began with kings, warriors, and civilizations that shaped the world. But somehow, that part of the story is often left out. Black History Month started in 1926 when Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a historian and the son of a formerly enslaved parents, launched Negro Week history in the United States. Woodson, often called the father of Black history, believed that Black achievements were being overlooked or misrepresented in the mainstream education. He chose the second week of February to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, two figures deeply connected to African liberation. Over time, the celebration grew in recognition and impact, and in 1976, 50 years after its inception, Negro History Week officially expanded into Black History Month, with President Gerald Ford urging Americans to honor the achievements of Black Americans throughout history. Today, Black History Month is recognized in many countries, including Canada, the UK, and across Africa and the Caribbean, serving as an impactful reminder of resilience, innovation, and cultural influence.
We've all been spread out from our motherland, Africa, but we just really embrace our culture and embrace who we are.
Black history is more than just a month. It's a story of resilience, strength, and a cultural legacy. But to truly understand its roots, we must look beyond the Americas and Europe to Africa, the homeland. And if you trace it back far enough, Ghana stands out as a central pillar in Black history, bridging the past, present, and the future of Black identity. To understand Ghana's role in Black history, you have to go back centuries to the castles along Ghana's coast. Cape Coast and Elmina were key points in the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans were taken from these shores, never to return, but centuries later, their descendants are making the journey back. To understand why Ghana's role in Black history, we must first go back to one of the darkest chapters in human history, the transatlantic slave trade. From the 16th to the 19th century, Ghana, formerly known as the Gold Coast, was at the center of transatlantic slave trade, where millions of Africans were forcibly taken from its shores, passing through places like Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle. The Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle, two of the most infamous slave forts, still stand today as a haunting reminders of this past. Enslaved Africans were held in cramped, inhuman dungeons before passing through the infamous door of no return, a gateway to ships that would carry them across the Atlantic to lives of bondage. For those taken, it was the last time they would see their homeland, which was a symbol of separation and suffering. But even in the face of this brutality, Ghana's history is not just one of suffering, it's also one of resistance. Many African leaders and warriors such as Yas and 12 of the Ashanti Kingdom fought back against colonial powers, refusing to let their people to be taken without a fight. The spirit of resistance never died, and it became the foundation of Ghana's next historic chapter, independence.
The battle has ended. Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle.
Since March 1957, Ghana becomes the first African nation to gain independence from colonial rule. This was more than just a victory for Ghana. It was a spark that ignited a movement across the continent led by Dr. Sajifo Kwame Nkrumah. Ghana took on a leadership role in the fight for African unity, inspiring liberation movements in other countries. Nkrumah wasn't just fighting for Ghana, he wanted freedom for all of Africa. His dream was Pan-African unity, and his vision inspired leaders around the world. Nkrumah was not just a leader, he was a visionary.
Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
He understood that Ghana's independence meant to let with the rest of Africa remain under colonial rule. His push for Pan-Africanism called for Africans in the global black community to unite in political, economic, and cultural strength. Because of this, Ghana became a sanctuary for prominent black intellectuals and activists. W.E.B, a founding figure of the NAACP and a pioneer for Pan-African thought, moved to Ghana in his final years, working on the Encyclopedia Africana, a project aimed at rewriting African history from African perspective. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and Maya Angelou all visited Ghana, drawn by its revolutionary spirit. Ghana was more than just a country. It became a symbol of hope for black people worldwide.
When Malcolm X came to Ghana, the African Americans who were there, we gathered around him like his children. And he liked me, and we liked each other.
I met Malcolm X at my mother's house in Ghana. My mother went out and bought about 6 chickens, and she rarely fried chicken. And I was almost sorry to meet Malcolm X because the chicken was so good and I had to share it with him. But the thing about Malcolm is, for a person of his stature, for me to ask a question and for him to think about it and then come back with an answer, it captured my heart. And his answers were so phenomenal.
We wanted to meet so he could tell us what was going on in the States and what his plans were. And we found out that his quest was to find an African government that would take the United Nations Genocide Convention and make a charge against the United States.
African nations and Asian nations and Latin American nations look very hypocritical when they stand up in the United Nations condemning the racist practices of South Africa and saying nothing in the UN about the racist practices manifest every day against Negroes in this society.
This is Maya with me and our delegation who went into the American Embassy in Ghana to deliver our petition condemning the United States.
Have you had any commitments from any nations in Africa to support you?
I would rather not say at this time.
In fact, we couldn't get any African government to bring any charge against the U.S. because of the American money, the cash.
When I first learned about how Ghana welcomed black leaders like W.E.B and Malcolm X, it made me realize this country has always been a home for black people, no matter where they came from. Malcolm X's time in Ghana wasn't just a personal journey thing. It was part of a larger movement. His visit reinforced the bond between Africa and the diaspora, a connection that still exists today. In 2019, Ghana made history once again with the Year of Return, an initiative that marked 400 years since the first enslaved Africans were taken to the Americas. It was a call for the descendants of the enslaved to come back home to reconnect, rediscover their heritage, and rebuild the ties that slavery had served. The Year of Return was more than symbolic. Imagine standing where your ancestors were once held captive, knowing that they never got to return, but you did. That's why people broke down in tears at the Cape Coast Castle. That's why the Year of Return wasn't just a trip. It was healing. Thousands of people from the United States, the Caribbean, and beyond traveled to Ghana, many for the first time. Celebrities like Steve Harvey, Boris Kojo, Cardi B, Ludacris, and Idris Elba embraced Ghana, not just as tourists but as people finding a place of themselves. Some even acquired Ghanaian citizenship, making a permanent connection to the land of their ancestors. This movement hasn't stopped. Today, Ghana is shaping black culture in ways we never imagined. Now, Ghana is a major destination for black entrepreneurs, creatives, and investors, all looking to be part of Africa's rise. Events like Afrofuture, formerly known Afrochilla, Dirty December, and Panafricanism continue to attract thousands of diasporans every year, proving that Ghana isn't just part of black history, it's the future.
The Ghanaian way!
Global stars like Beyoncé and Kendrick Lamar have connected with Ghana's music and culture. The world indeed to me is really paying attention.
If you are from the Caribbean, you are from the Eastern Caribbean, you are from Central Caribbean, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Jamaica, Ghana is home. You may not know it yet, but whenever you land in Ghana, you feel it. Ghana has that energy. It's that one place to be, and I highly recommend.
Everyone is so sweet. You can wave and say hi to anyone, and they will reciprocate that energy. So I love them for that.
When you come to Ghana, you get a whole sense of different of who you are. You never know who you are until you see how the world sees you. So when you come to Ghana and you see the love that people give you, you get more information about yourself. So come to Ghana and learn about yourself.
First of all, you come to Ghana and it's a whole bunch of blackness. Start there. It's also a vibe. Like Ghana is home.
It's a homecoming. When you come here, you feel at home. The people are very welcoming. Everywhere you go, you see black representation, black excellence. When you go somewhere, you don't feel like you're being judged. You don't feel like you are out of place. You are home.
Diaspora, Ghana is more than a vacation spot. It's home. Thousands of African Americans and Caribbeans have moved here, investing in business, land, and a future connected to their roots.
Glad a lot of people in America now are deciding to come back to Africa to see where they come from. I feel like it's been a long time waiting. I'm glad that everybody's finally seeing, like, you know, we can come back home. It's a good vibe, great food, great people. Come and experience Africa, come and experience home. And I feel like Ghana's a great place. It's like a great first place to start out. Ghana has a lot of history. I feel like a lot of people don't know. And I feel like that's why I said previously, I feel like people need to come. A lot of people don't know about Africa. A lot of people don't know about Ghana. Ghana has so much history, especially in connection to America. So I feel like that's one word I could truly describe Ghana, historic. I will say this, there are a lot of beautiful people here. A lot of beautiful people. Even the kids, even me and my friend, we have been admired with like the pretty, like the beautiful, beautiful kids. Ghana has beautiful, beautiful kids, beautiful people. That's one thing I can take away. Like there's so much beauty of Africa, there's so much beauty of Ghana, so that's one thing I can definitely take away.
It's a powerful moment in history, a chance to rewrite the past and build a future where Black people worldwide connect, thrive, and celebrate their heritage together. Ghana's story is more than history. It's a call to action for the Black world, whether through visiting, investing, learning, or reconnecting. The connection between Ghana and the Black community is stronger than ever. As we celebrate Black History Month, we must remember that history is still being made, and Ghana is leading the way. Black history didn't start with slavery, and it doesn't end with the struggles we have overcome. It's alive, growing, and being written every day. So whether you are here in Ghana or watching from afar, just know you're always welcome home. Our ancestors left the shores in chains, but today, we walk back as kings and queens. And hey, if you enjoy this content, kindly like and subscribe for amazing content like this. In the meantime and all time, stay connected and stay inspired. You will know the vibes. Adena Kofi. Peace out.